the best of three after Border goes in favor of Nora and Oregon in favor of Obey. And we'll start off that ban phase. Yet again, Nora is the first to ban, and yet again, they are taking their time with it.
They've been doing this repeatedly over and over and over again. I'm not entirely certain why. That hesitation in order to, take out counter-banning attacking operators. They haven't really been taking that long with the defensive operators. It's been Echo ban both times. Is this going to be another Lion ban for Nora-Rengo? No, they're actually going to ban out Jackal. Interesting. So I said at the tail end of Oregon, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more Jackal on bank. How wrong I was.
So this is actually a really big ban, as you were just talking about. Jackal is a very powerful operator on bank specifically because of how massive it is as a map and how much roaming potential there is.
Might be the biggest map in the map pool.
If we're talking about just square footage, I want to say yes, it's up there. It's it's in the 1 to 3 slot, right? But Habana also being banned means that no drop downs will be opened up. Aside, likelihood aside from maybe one, max 2. That is a huge ban for bank. Smoke, the follow-up, is also a huge ban for bank. The defensive hold right now looks so incredibly strong. Yet at the same time, there's no smoke. So maybe a Mira, maybe an Echo. You're going to see probably one or the other here banned by Nora. But these bans from Obey, I think, are even more influential.
So Echo and his 2 Yokai drones will not be allowed to play. They'll be sent on timeout for the entire matchup. No smoke and no Echo for the defense. That is really something.
This is like I said, this is a really odd ban phase. The biggest one, though, is the Habana. You're looking at no smoke and no Echo, that's crazy. No Jackal, that's huge for this map. But Habana is even bigger for this map because when you're attacking the basement, you've got 2 Thermite charges now, max. And I almost guarantee Thermite will be played every single round. But you need one of those Thermite charges usually to open up the server wall. Not always. Some teams, instead of reinforcing the server wall, will open it up with a shotgun and make it kind of difficult for you to get it open if you don't have a soft destructor. Of course, Obey's going to keep that into account with Sledge, so good on them to have everything locked up. But the big thing here is drop downs are not going to be opened up. Another thing that's crazy about that, actually, Obey did it to themselves. They're going on to attack. They banned Habana. This is just weird.
It's a very peculiar ban phase, especially with them banning a smoke, knowing how proficient Bosco is on smoke.
Yeah. Dude, on that note, Bosco has been hitting...
Did you just call me dude?
I'm sorry, I got a little excited.
Please continue your excitement.
Bosco has been ruthlessly efficient on smoke today.
Yes.
Yeah, he has, every time we see someone from Nora popping off and shredding Obey players, Bosco's just there to say, no, sorry, you're done now. Die. And he's been hitting his shots. So yeah, kind of an odd ban there for Obey. The Habana one, though, again, I just keep coming back to that. Playing bank without Habana is like playing Border without Thermite.
To be fair, we also saw Habana get banned quite a lot on a variety of maps. Usually there's a hard breacher ban and usually Mira is banned. That is typically the way that the ban phase works, is that you'll see 1 or 2 of those end up getting removed from action. So who really knows? Nora-Rengo is going to start on defense. They'll go downstairs. Of course, the #1 defensive site is going to be down below. The only basement bomb site.
Yeah, and it's going to be, again, despite the lack of Echo or a smoke, the Echo is predictable. You might even have expected a Mira as well.
Right.
So that's not going to hurt the defense too much, whereas the lack of the Habana is going to aid the defense quite a lot, which means this is probably going to be a very defensive-sided basement hold. But when you come out of the basement, Habana's not essential anymore. She's not super important even. Your Thermite can do the job you need to get done when you're attacking the archives, the tellers, or the open area, or even CEO. So basement is going to be a free win, should be at least, for all the defensive rounds, but the rest of them are going to be a little bit more even.
You've got the Ella playing right now inside of Archives with a minute being exhausted into this round. It's an advantageous place for an Ella, of course, to be. Has a Valkyrie camera, actually, that's going to give a lot of information, and JJ's in good spot, but will just miss 2 bodies, as you can see. the Thermite and the Sledge both working their way down through the open hatch that Nora-Rengo has opened up. Bosco could be in a position on his drone to spot the Ella, but for the time being, we'll see what happens. Interesting that we don't have a Mira. She's not banned, but there will be no Mira played at all. Benji will dispatch JJ as the Ella tries to get back to site. Both Dokkaebi phone calls as well as the Lions EE1D. But here is Shin in a position. He'll get one kill, but the diffuser will go down. He'll go for a second heavy damage, but not enough to fell the Thermite. Adam looks like he might have exactly 1 HP left. The Vigil right now sitting in a position on a Skylight stairwell through the open hatch. Adam, who literally does have just 1 HP, will finally find his death at the hands of Crazy Papillon. But my man from above can potentially watch that diffuser, but it's Waka and Mario and Nora-Rengo with a great post-plant take. 3 of them still left. They'll grab that diffuser, and Nora-Rengo will take round number 1.
I gotta say, Nora should not have allowed that diffuse plant to happen in the first place. That was a huge mistake there. Bad C4 placement, bad flank timing. You know, it was all over the place from Nora. But when it came down to that actual retake itself, they made it work for them quite well. And Obey did not have time to position themselves properly for the post plant. I also got to say that was the only strategy. Okay, so here's the big thing. Because there's no Hibana, I know I keep coming back to this, but because there's no Hibana, you have 2 real options when attacking the basement. You can either come from the main lobby, open up the Teller's drop and maybe the elevator drop, and try to go for a vault take, which is exceedingly difficult, or you can go for server and maybe open up 1 drop down or no drop downs and go for a pure and simple server take. And that is usually where teams will lean because it's a lot more feasible. It's much more in the meta, but it also makes you extremely predictable. And Nora, using that predictability, was able to figure out, oh yeah, we're just going to be dealing with a bit of a funnel situation, and all we need to do is apply pressure at the right position and get the kills on the retake. Though again, I keep coming back to the fact that they shouldn't have allowed the plant to happen in the first place.
They didn't have a mirror there. I don't know how much intel they were being fed either. Now, I did say very, very quickly before the diffuser did go down, it's unusual to see somebody play that site without a mirror available to them, especially now that mirror is unbanned. You'd think it would be almost a certainty. Obviously, maybe some teams have become accustomed to the fact that mirror is pretty much a permaban, so they might not essentially be the most comfortable with mirror strats on certain sites. Of course, we had the Valkyrie who was playing in that position, tossed the C4 out, but was a bit too early, and that's why the plant was successful in going down. I don't know how much, like I said, I don't know how much information was being fed their way in order to make that call, but masterful retake.
If we're using the defense of, you know, they didn't have a Mira, then they couldn't see the diffuse plan. Then it comes back to, well, they could have had a Mira. that was their decision. They also could have had a pulse. You know, like there are a lot of options there to gather the info, and ultimately, yeah. But I mean, they won. They won the round.
It worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't subscribe to the belief that just because it worked means it's smart.
So that's true. Yeah.
Dumb things work from
time to time. Dumb things do work a lot.
But
especially in this game. Yeah. No, really, I mean,
especially in this game.
Well, no, there are so many things that you have to account for in Siege. So many little boxes you have to check. And sometimes in the process of checking those boxes, you can be caught off guard by brand new ones that you've never seen before, and just they can randomly appear out of nowhere and catch you off guard.
My man has taken quite a substantial beating. I don't know from what. It did seem like somebody got tased with an evil eye, but I believe it was the Dokkaebi of Benji, so I don't know how my man has sustained so much damage. He's playing right now inside of the trading room, trying to get a good angle into Janitor Closet. That's where Walk is playing, but I don't know if my man is going to be given that line of sight that he wants.
Waka does have a good hold here. Half of the round gone. We've seen this a lot. Both teams on attack have been fairly slow. Shin will get the first kill onto Benji. That's a huge one. Dokkaebi gone. No phone calls. EE1D still in play, but my man going to be eliminated by Waka, and it doesn't feel like Waka's under a lot of pressure despite that EE1D.
I like that they were able to actually get the pings off. And this camera right here inside of the shrubbery that is on the back of the Skylight stairwell. It's always nice when there's an unexpected Monty Python reference. Anywho, let's bring me a shrubbery.
2 for Nora-Rengo. Shin and Mario get Adam and Bosco leaving just Skies, the final attacker, and you can see his frustration. He knows the round is all but over. Only 50 seconds remain, and he's going to force himself down into server, which, yeah, there's no one holding this, so he will get control. His foot in the door, but he's going to have to ace. It would be one of the best aces we'd ever seen, or we would have ever seen in Pro League for him to pull this off.
And 35 seconds, doesn't have the diffuser either. It's a very tall task. He's going to have to deal with the fact that there's still a Valkyrie camera there. He'll pull out the SMG-11 as it's a bit better at the close range engagement than the L85 that he has. Notoriously skeptical of ACOGs or disliking ACOGs. He's going to be literally just in a hail of bullets. Got the ACOG on the L85, but even though he gets one, won't get the second. Mario will finish that off. And Nora-Rengo's going to go up by 2-0, as you can see. That's what happens. You mentioned an ace clutch here, but what a shot.
Yeah.
That's all they really need. You've got 5 bodies. You just hold your angles and make him have to contest those angles. It's very difficult. If you'll start pushing, yeah, then you're going to lose. But
yeah, I'm guessing in that last situation there, he was also being marked, and just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, there's very little chance for you to come out on top in that fight. Nora now 2-0 on this final map. They have looked pretty decisive on Bank. It seems to be where they seem to have made their home, and that's really what that's the most important thing, right? You're on the final map of the series. You want to be comfortable here. Now, Twitch going to be picked onto by Skies instead of a Sledge. Obviously, this is to counter the Mira play, and Nora doesn't look like they're going to use their 6 pick, at least not yet, and they'll keep Mira in play, which means the Twitch will be able to counter those windows. Going onto the top floor, this is actually really big. So, on the top floor, a Mira window was usually going to be put in Meeting Hall, facing towards storage or janitor, as it can be called. And you can also put it in a number of other places. Meeting Hall facing towards the main hallway. You know, you got your choices. Now, if they get opened up, you lose pretty much your primary anchor position on this top floor. And once that's lost, it becomes exceedingly difficult to hold the floor, if not by just pure fragging power. And as we've talked about before, when it comes down to the pure fragging power, Obey has an edge. So, if the Twitch is able to get those mirror windows open, Nora could be put in a bit of a corner, and could be hard for them.
the one thing we've always found about CEO is that typically one of 2 things happen. Either the push is very, very quickly, and you completely lose control early.
Yeah.
Or you bleed them out, and it's an absolute slugfest till the end of the round. There's really no in between. You don't often see their, crazy Papillon coming very close before he ducked down there to almost losing his head as the Mira doing some final touch-ups. As Waka now going to be playing on a more support-oriented role on that Mira. So we'll see how quickly they're going to be able to get this wall. If they can take control of CEO very quickly, maybe put somebody up on those windows, that's a big power play for Obey Alliance. They'll be in a really good position. There's a lot of discomfort that it will provide the defense on where they can stand, and that's one of the main criticisms of this site, is that if it gets opened up, you don't really have any recourse. There's nowhere you can go. The whole floor is, of course, destructible as well. Given the fact that we're seeing the first EE1D get burned so quickly on, I would imagine that they're going to take full advantage of that and get the wall. That's exactly what they'll do. A pre-fire from the Lion, the thermite charge, successful, and they managed to open up one of the walls into CEO. I'll give them a huge sightline.
That was very fast in the round, and oh, here comes the Twitch drone. Skies will get both of the mirror windows, and now, like we talked about, the main anchor position for Nora is completely thwarted, which means that they will have to rely on pure fragging power. Now, Mario does get Bosco, so this is the fragging power we were talking about. My man will re-frag onto Waka immediately, though. So, not all is lost for Obey. They don't have their EE1Ds anymore, but oh, whoa, look at this position from JJ. That's going to be super important for holding the main hallway.
This is exactly what we saw at SK Gaming, running a strategy like that, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter all that much. Benji and Skies will pick up one apiece, leaving it in a 4v2, and Obey Alliance in a position where they outnumber their opponents quite substantially. We'll see what Crazy and Mario can do, and that ACOG is going to be put to work. It's going to take out my man, and the gap will narrow, but still a 3v2. Very difficult for the Rook as he's going to blind fire in, but Crazy is there now, and this is a very winnable position if I'm Nora-Rengo. Diffuser goes down, phone calls will go out, and we're going to hit about a quarter of the way through. they're in a position where they could start to defuse if Mario can get coverage on the window. But Crazy Papillon will not get the coverage he needs. Mario very low on HP. Just waiting to see the head of the Dokkaebi, but can't quite get it. He'll have to bait the defuse, but now Skies in position to strike. Benji will go for a couple shots, and Skies is there to have his teammates back. Does great work to take out both the mirror windows, and then finishes off the round. Obey Alliance will get there first.
That's a really terrible feeling when the person who's denying you the ability to disable the diffuser is just out of reach, and there's nothing you can do about it. You've ult out, and even if you do get that kill, you don't have time to make it back because of your 3 armor. You might not even survive the fall because you have so little HP. That was not the best situation, and ultimately, it was still a winnable 2v2. The main problem, I think, was just the sticking of the diffuser. The other defender, I believe it was a Jaeger, who decided to stay on that diffuser instead of just try to play for control. When you know there's someone on repel, you cannot go for that diffuse disable. That's just not an option.
It's a tough spot to find yourselves in. And then you just got them playing on the repel, and I mean, you've got an SMG-12, which even hip firing, usually that spray is
just
gonna do enough to take care of you. I mean, it's a high fire rate weapon. It's pretty strong.
The big thing with the SMG-12 is just it's kind of random. You're going to get a random headshot 9 times out of 10.
Very peculiar recoil pattern.
Yeah. A consistently random headshot is what you get.
And there's something to speak for its recoil pattern, given the fact that, you know, so much of this game is based around that one headshot style of deal. Yes, and really that's why we see so many high fire rate weapons do so well. It doesn't really necessarily matter what their damage is. You could make the the F2 do 1 damage, and that rate of fire and the way it's played, pros are probably still going to take it in some instances because it's getting those headshots.
It's kind of the same thing with the MPX. You know, a lot of people are like, "Oh, buff the MPX, give it more damage." And it's like, no, if you buff the MPX, I mean, it just becomes even more lethal. It's the same thing with the Scorpion. You know, it's got ridiculous recoil, super high, lots of bullets though, high rate of fire, not very much damage, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's headshots. It's all that really it comes down to in this game.
I would say, for the record, I would not be opposed to a small, maybe 1 to 3 damage increase on the MPX, because
I would.
It does have one of the lowest DPS in the entire game, coupled with the UMP.
It's still one of my favorite guns, personally. Oh wow, okay, so this is huge, actually. Real quick to move the conversation, Skies has gotten control over Garage easily.
And he's joined by my man as well, so there's now 2 bodies in Garage.
Yeah.
They're on the razor's edge of confronting Nora-Rengo, and Shin could possibly be the first casualty, but as he goes for a pre-fire through the barricade, I'm going to assume that it was probably determined at some point that there's going to be a push through Garage. 3 bodies now in Garage. Dokkaebi, phone call, and a Lion Ring will go out. Skies just sprints right in, but no, my man with the team kill. Skies will take out Crazy Papillon, so it's a 4v4. Shin will reciprocate, but 2 bodies stacked right up. Skies is there. He'll get down by JJ, who'll get another. And what just happened in front of us? Nora-Rengo pushes back against the tides of Obey. Look at this. There to greet that attack through the Garage. Nora-Rengo will rebuff them. They're up 3-1. This is a very good split. At the moment, Nora-Rengo will at least win the first split. At worst, they will come out of this 3-2.
I gotta say, that last round, you know, it's weird because everything seems to always revolve around Skies. I feel like we talk about him a lot, but you know, whether he's doing well or poor, it always comes back to him.
Right.
But in that round, the only one who seemed to be on the right page with the strategy, with the execution from Obey, was Skies. He seemed to be the only one actually understanding what they were trying to accomplish. Maybe all those players sitting in Garage, they were just trying to hold for the defuse plant. I get that idea, but ultimately that's not what was necessary in that moment. What really needed to happen was establish control over Red Hall, establish control over Vault, establish control over the A site, deny the retake, and allow for that diffuse plan in the first place. They were set up for the post plan, and it wasn't even, the diffuser wasn't down. It hadn't happened yet, so getting a little bit ahead of themselves there from Obey. Skies, though, almost making it work for his team, really shredding through, like a hot knife through butter. It just wasn't enough, though, because Nora responded fast, and they responded well.
So we'll see what Nora-Rengo can put together on round number 5. This is going to be the final map of the first half before we switch sides. How crucial is this round for Nora-Rengo. They take this one 4-1. They emerge. How big is this for them? And I say this because Obey took Oregon 4-1 and then saw it slip away. Maybe not the most important, obviously, but what's your take on Bank and the way that these two teams are playing? In particular, I think on Oregon, there was a lot of sloppiness that we saw, which was leading to those swings, but Bank has looked pretty succinct.
Well, I'm going to come back to this. I think both teams in general are favored on defense because they are... Oh, finally, here we go. Obey actually going to shut those cameras down this time. They know about them from the last time, and they don't want to deal with them. But yes, both teams are going to be favored heavily on defense. On a map like Bank, this is a really, I think, generally defensive-sided map because you've got so much room to work with as a defender, and you can really explore that room pretty easily. You don't have to think too much about it. Meanwhile, the attackers have to cut through a jungle of various different defensive setups. So there's a lot they have to think about. Oh no, a little bit of mistake there. The Evil Eye will survive the lifeline, and my man will finally shut it down though. Anyway, Nora is going to be favored heavily on defense. They need to get this 4-1, in my opinion. If they don't get the 4-1, if this goes to 3-2, Obey very easily could come back.
We'll have to see. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. The Oregon, though, was a very much attacker-sided matchup. There's only 3 defensive victories in it whatsoever. Already, Nora-Rengo has the same amount of defensive victories as both teams did on Oregon. So it just goes to show you how wide a swing this has been. And, I mean, you mentioned the Hibana ban being so crucial, but keep in mind, the defense is racking these wins up right now with no Echo and no Smoke, which seems so strange to us.
Well, I mean, you usually don't have an Echo or a Mira, right? And that's comparable.
And now you have a Mira available to you. Shin, by the way, taking some damage as he got shot in the garage, just trying to hold off on a potential push, but he's going to be pestered by the drone of Adam, as well as an E1D and a phone call. A fun scenario for him to find himself in. JJ will remove Skies' head very swiftly. Against the Twitch, trying to work up the main stairs, but will be executed. All these phone calls still ringing. Nora-Rengo not too preoccupied whatsoever by silencing their phones. Obey at the moment will try to take out the wall in towards Tellers. They'll manage to get it, and there's lifelines there too. However, Waka, frozen by the E1D, great position to drop, and we'll see if he can. And there he goes. Waka will drop. He'll get 1. Waka goes for 2. He'll get it down. He just needs to get 1 more. He'll try to finish off the Dokkaebi. Will do so, and that's going to leave Bosco last alive. Try in vain as he may. He's only got 15 seconds to go. Does not hold the diffuser. He's going to need to try to get one, but it actually looks like they might have dropped off. Bosco circling around towards the front desk. This is going to be very, very difficult for him. Tries to get the kill onto the stairs where he was just playing, but Waka with the great late flank. He'll pull out the MPX and go for a pre-fire onto the Lion. He'll clean up. The first split will go to Nora-Rengo 4-1, and we'll switch sides.
So 4-1, that's about as good as it can get. 5-1, of course, being better, but Nora
5-1.
Or 5-0.
Rounds, Michael.
What was I getting at? So 4-1.
I'm sorry, I totally derailed you.
No, it's okay. I mean, I messed it up. 4-1, just about as good as it can get here for Nora, and they are going on to the second half feeling comfortable. However, again, I say it. I think this is going to be a very defensive favored map. I mean, obviously we've seen that right now from Nora, but usually what we see from Nora, we also see reflected in Obey. So it's incredibly likely that we're now going to have Obey start their comeback. The question is, can they make it go all the way? Because we saw something very similar on Oregon, which is, not a defensive-sided map per se, but Obey had that 4-1 lead, and then it started to slip away. Now, they won it eventually, 6-4 in their favor, but they lost 3 in a row going into the second half. And that could very easily happen here for Nora.
Since the tactical timeout, Nora-Rengo has only lost 3 rounds over 2 games.
Oh, geez.
That's pretty impressive to say altogether. You know, I don't know, I don't think it's fair to put all of that at the foot of the tactical timeout, sure. But I mean, one of the best parts of the pause is being able to regain that composure. We've talked about how this game is, you know, not necessarily as momentum-based as other games where there's like an economy to manage and all that jazz. But the momentum more so comes mentally, not necessarily through in-game mechanics, currency, etc.
Also, compared to other games, the round count is significantly lower.
Right.
So, you know, you say, okay, they've only lost those 3 rounds after the tactical pause. I mean, you could also say the first 2 rounds after that pause, or the first 3 rounds even after that pause that they won, could be directly as a result of the tactical pause for having them, they had pre-called strats that they knew they were going to execute, and they had it all refined, before the match even began. And then, that's a huge margin of those rounds that have been played. So,
to be fair, though, 3 rounds in this game is half of your way to victory.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting at, yeah. Now,
I like when we agree. It's so nice.
Well, I still say there are 6 rounds in 1/2, Parker.
Yeah, it's 5-1, Michael. possibly casting from the future, Michael Kickstar Stockley joining us. 30 seconds in, and you can see that Nora-Rengo is going to be running a very similar composition to Obey. One glaring exception is that there will be a buck brought out. Interesting. And the buck will go into CEO and open up as much as they can with that skeleton key.
I'm sure they're aware it's the basement.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not the site, Waka.
But he's probably just trying to clear roamers, but then the interesting thing is, like, why are you not droning that there are none there?
Well, I
think my man might be.
Mario is down there, so, I mean, it could possibly be that he wasn't droning, somebody else was, and he was just opening up what could have been, I guess, the easy to see lines of sight. I think it's also interesting that Nora-Rengo would routinely put somebody inside of Teller's archives, and that's exactly the first place that they think to attack, because
True. It could be the difference in meta.
Maybe they're used to people being in there. I'm not entirely certain. Because of the way that the basement plays out, though, you mentioned how crucial Hibana is on this site. Where are the thermite charges going to go? Instead of opening a lot of the hatches up, very similar to the way that we saw Nora-Rengo did, Obey's going to seal them all off, and that's good because it's going to force Nora-Rengo to use that precious utility, which are just the 2 exothermic charges.
And this is what Obey was counting on, actually.
Right.
The reason they banned Hibana was specifically to have a better defense of the basement. Nora didn't really lean into it, but Obey certainly is. Despite that, though, Waka will get at him. It was the Jaeger playing in server. My man will respond onto Shin and gets a second onto Waka. He's going for a third, but he just can't land the shot. Mariu will get that headshot, in fact, in his favor, and it's nice and even 3-3. Server control favor Nora-Rengo. But we also have a situation where it's pressure coming in through the main stairs. Skies is going to have to focus on 2 angles at once.
That was very important. They just hacked the cams. They've got the Maestro cameras now as well, so Benji's 2 Evil Eyes are going to be in favor of Nora-Rengo.
Benji, though, holding from the garage, will be able to... No, he loses that fight! Bosco hits the C4, though, so Diffuser Plant denied. Crazy's in the winning position right now, and Mariu's going to back him up with a dedicated push. Only 11 seconds left. These defenders holding on to B. Bosco with a shot onto Crazy and Mariu. What a double kill. Perfect position. And Obey will take the first round of the second half.
Gotta question exactly why Nora-Rengo didn't bother to push from 2 different directions. You said that they had each other's back, and they did. They could have possibly pinched. I don't know if they were going blind on info. Maybe they didn't have the drones. Maybe they didn't have the calls. From our perspective, you could see that the 2 defenders, they were locked inside of the site. They were in the locker area. They could not get out. And all you need to do is put 1 on the big window and 1 to walk through the main front, or that main door from the garage, and you've got them pinned down.
Well,
but Nora-Rengo decided to rotate and put 2 people over towards the big window.
The double up was the wrong call. Yeah, I mean, if you're taking your 50% odds and turning them into 25% odds, basically, is what you're doing by doubling up on that window. Because there's not a lot of potential for refrags in that situation. You're basically just giving yourself 2 chances at a push in through that window, instead of giving yourself 2 separate chances with the push in through the window and the push in through the hallway, right? So. Bad calculus there, I guess, in the short term from Nora, but you can see, I'm guessing that this is a pause.
Tactical pause from Nora-Rengo being taken. We know that the last time it seemed to pay dividends.
Yeah, so this could be enough for them to start another landslide in their favor.
A landslide is a good way of putting it.
Because that's what they got after that last tactical pause. It just barely was rebuffed by Obey.
Now, there's one thing that I think, I mean, this also applied to Nora-Rengo, but they did an exemplary job of it. But because of the site rotation, the most defendable site, in my opinion, is now locked for 2 rounds, which means that all Nora-Rengo needs to do, they just need 2 more rounds, that's it. And then the Japanese will make it on to fight the winner of Liquid versus Vitality, and will actually be Nora-Rengo's first victory on an international stage. All they need are 2 rounds. At best, Obey can only, or at worst actually, Obey can go back to CCTV twice. Because if they go back in the 9th round and they lose, they can go back one more time for the 10th, providing we make it that far.
And in extension to your point, Obey, with their operator bans, very clearly invested heavily into the expectation of winning that basement. So yes, they did win it, but that's pretty much like, it's a big chunk of their plan. They need to be winning that basement hold. And it also means that there's a little bit less to be said about holding these other sites. So if Obey can't make any other sites work, then yeah, this could be straight up Nora. I mean, the way that Nora played that last round, if it had been a Teller's Archives hold, it would have been an easy push, I think, for them. They had Waka in the top floor within 30 seconds.
To be fair, they could have possibly... Obey could have possibly put a body up top to prevent him from doing that, right? I mean, he was able to take
and it looks like
CEO office. And it looks exactly like they're going to be doing that. You can see right now. So they're going to basically play this very similarly to as if it was a CEO defense. The only difference being that, you know, castle barricades are not going to be applied in the same places, and the walls of CEO are likely going to go unreinforced. But everything else, in regards to the way that they set up inside of the meeting hall, or the conference table up there, the way that they set up looking in towards janitorial or stock, it's going to be very, very similar to the way that you do it with CEO.
Well, we'll see. I
will tell you this, Michael. If Waka makes it into CEO in 30 seconds this time around and lives, it's probably pretty bad for Obey.
It'd be very impressive as well for Waka. Just in general, it would require an amazing feat of coordination. It's already not possible, obviously, but Waka is still going to be on those windows to the north, and he will be applying some pressure to all of the roamers upstairs. Nade coming out. This might be a called one, actually, and it will indeed get Benji. So good coordination for Nora to give away the position of the, ironically, Jaeger.
I was just about to say, it's always ironic when it's a Jaeger who is taken out by a grenade.
You just can't help it.
Also on the other side of that wall, unreinforced, the vigil of Maman. Had there been a drone there a little bit sooner,
possibly a kill.
Possibly could have been an easy kill. Mario there is in a position to possibly strike. As you can see, those walls being unreinforced in CEO, basically going to mean that your full investment up top is going to fall apart very quickly. They're going to find the vigil, and that's Waka with a second, this time using the C8 rather than the frag grenade to find Maman.
An impressive take onto the top floor for Nora, and they have plenty of time, half the round, and a 2-man advantage, and lots of soft destruction to boot while they push downstairs into those tellers. Skies is the big X factor for the defense all the way down in the basement, but I'm not sure what he can really do to help his team. And as Waka gets another kill, I believe his 3rd in this round, onto Adam, trying to rotate between sites, it's looking even worse for Obey.
Skies will work his way up to the top of server stairs, and he'll hold an angle to see if anybody's going to push through that back alley entrance, but no. Logic bomb going off, meaning that everybody's phone is going to ring. Now there's only 2 people on Obey that's still left. Bosco taking a ton of damage. Waka with 4. Last man standing is Skies. Will Waka collect them all and complete the perfect round? Skies will at least take out Mario and then work his way back towards Archives. He's in sight. We'll get some shot. What a shot on the Waka from Skies, cooling off the hot gun. But Skies will see the diffuser down. Can he pop up and go for the kill? The Thermite, they're playing very aggressively around the filing cabinet. We'll get a couple bullets through that soft wall where the Mira is positioned. Skies will send out a Nitro Cell, and he'll get 1. This is 3 for Skies. He's going to go for a 4th, but no! Crazy Papillon with the final kill of the round to push Nora-Rengo to not just match point, but also series point.
They're just 1 step away. Could you imagine if Obey had gotten 2 kills there before Skies was let loose upon Nora-Rengo?
Right.
I mean, just could have been a completely different round outcome. A nice try, definitely, from Skies. He almost made it work for his team. Now, Nora going on to attack, and Obey not going to be able to go back downstairs yet. It's still a round out, so they're going to have to push their way to CEO. They could have gone to Tellers again, but they want to mix things up a little bit and try their odds. They have to do something to make this work because they're just right next to defeat right now.
And this could possibly be it for Obey. Spoilers incoming, by the way, so close your ears. You have been warned. If Nora-Rengo wins this round, they will compete against Vitality tomorrow. Vitality taking a 2-1 victory over Team Liquid. So Team Liquid awaits the loser of this matchup. So just to confirm, Team Vitality, the first victor of the day. They will have the rest of the day off to strat and figure out, are they going to play Nora-Rengo or Obey Alliance? They are one win closer to making it to the quarterfinals.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's Vitality, the 4th seed, going against, or not the 4th, but seed rather, but like the 4th position in the group, going against Liquid, the 1st position in the group.
The second last team to be confirmed for the Paris Major, only making it in by nature of DreamHack Valencia, which the winner would go to the Paris Major. They finished 4th at DreamHack Valencia, but because the 3 teams ahead of them had already all qualified, the place fell to them.
And based on that result, no matter what happens in this match, you're going to be going against a team that's pretty tough. Whether it's Vitality or Liquid, it's going to be a hard-fought match for sure. So obviously you want to get the win wherever possible, and Obey are going to be looking to start their comeback here. Nora, though, going to be attacking that top floor, and they have an IQ to gather a lot of information through this roof. Can call out quite a lot of things using this one piece of gadgetry on Bank in particular.
And of course, because you don't have, the gadget has been nerfed, so it is only 15 meters now as opposed to the previous 20, but because the CEO office is upstairs, there's not that much separating you from the actual site. On the window walk in a good position, but Adam is going to start things off, and he's going to get the buck on Repel. That is big for his team. Bosco will also get reset, but Waka being silenced early, 1 minute into the round, that's a boon for Obey.
Seeing a downed enemy picked up and knowing there's nothing you can do about it is one of the most soul-crushing things to watch happen in this game. And it actually is going to mentally influence Nora, I'm sure. Adam with the 2nd kill, this time on Demariu. Very good kill there, and interesting position Adam's been playing, and he's been doing it very well as well. It's a difficult thing to hold just the main CEO site. He's also going to use his impacts to deny the thermite charge, and he will get the 2nd one, I believe. No, he misses, unfortunately hitting some debris, allowing Shin to rush into the site, and he will get Adam. The follow-up from JJ. Site control now completely in Nora's favor, and it's going to be locked down in this 3 versus 3. A retake attempt here. Benji will get JJ and goes for a 2nd. Crazy gets Skies. And it's nice and even here, 2-2. Shin gets Benji, and Crazy, the final kill of the entire match. Nora take it in what was an unexpected blitz, thanks to a missed impact grenade from Adam.
Nora-Rengo getting their very first victory outside of APAC, defeating Obey Alliance by a score of 6-2 on the tiebreaker map. You can see obvious elation from the Japanese team, one of the 3 APAC teams representing their region here in Paris. An outstanding job from the entire team. And of course, Waka catching fire just when he needed to, getting